Characters of a C- internet review show. You have been summoned here to answer the question of how to review what has been reviewed 1,000,000 times over.
I'm Jim.
Bring forth the ring. Dope.
Righto!
Why did I give that to you anyway?
My name is the closest to Frodo.
Oh, yeah.
One does not simply review the Lord of the Rings movies.
Or make that gesture with your hand, because he didn't do that when he delivered the line in the movie.
There are years of people dissecting every little moment, every little detail, every single letter not in the book.
But Rings of Power made some changes, and that won everybody over. That didn't win everybody over, did it?
As much as the Gollum game.
He's right. We cannot review it.
You have only one choice.
Wait, why was the camera tracking in on me like that?
We shot like 80 hours of footage. Feel lucky that our lines are even in order.
Agreed. Sometimes we basically edit to the same shot. See?
We have to figure out how to review this in a unique way.
What about satirizing the movie? Nobody's ever done that.
Do you watch anything?
Nope.
How about a clipless review?
Yeah, that'll work out great with Mr. Chronic Fatigue over here.
Almond milk.
We can't have just a straightforward review. We need to do something unique.
And I suppose you think you're the one to do it!
I'm out of coffee, and that makes me angry.
In the last shot I was standing, so why am I standing again?
Oh, you're seriously considering
I'll do it! I'll review the movie!
No, absolutely not.
That's stupid.
Sit down, you embarrassment.
Ooh, my mother's last words to me.
Look, everyone's done a parody and satire of the Lord of the Rings, including us.
Yeah, maybe just talking straightforward about it makes the most sense.
Yeah, but it's gonna be tricky. I know in many films and franchises people overuse the phrase "there was never anything like it," but really there never was anything like Lord of the Rings. It's been adapted before, but never in a way that left a cultural impact. In fact, for years, fans thought it couldn't be adapted. It was just too big. Well, Peter Jackson had a plan and convinced New Line Cinema to take a big gamble, allow him to shoot 2 films at the same time, condensing the Lord of the Rings trilogy. When one of the producers said, "Wait, aren't there 3 books? Shouldn't we make it 3?" Jackson shrugged and said, "Well, if you gotta." He must have been a good negotiator, because not only did he get an unbelievable budget and honestly a fair amount of creative control, but he convinced New Line that the director of this was the perfect choice. I can't imagine planning all 3 of these films and having them be as good and popular as they are. It took something that was celebrated mainly in just geek culture and book clubs and turned it into a worldwide phenomenon. Before these movies, the average person didn't know what a hobbit was, even with the musical stylings of Leonard Nimoy.
Bilbo Baggins, bravest little hobbit of them all.
With that said, yes, this needed to connect with as many people as possible given the budget and that there were going to be 2 more of them, so there are things that most fans acknowledge are needed to win over the average person, but weren't always the best.
Nobody tosses a dwarf!
It's going to be difficult to sum up why these incredibly long films made such a huge impact, but we have a whole month dedicated to it, so we're going to give it a try. And because there's so much movie to discuss, the best way to go about it is to just discuss it.
Wait, then why did we do a parody sketch in the opening?
This isn't a sketch. This is just us talking.
No, we're clearly all characters.
I'm not a character.
Let's talk about the first and shortest film of the bunch. At 3 hours, let's take a look at Fellowship of the Ring. The film opens in a magical land called Middle-earth, where we get the backstory about the forging of powerful rings, one of them made by an evil villain named Sauron.
The Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring.
And yeah, I know I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't like Sauron's design. I like you never see his face or hear him talk, and being covered in metal is on brand for these villains. But I'm sorry, this is supposed to be the great deceiver, the ultimate evil, and he looks like a Marvel villain. Not a good one either, he's like that mini-boss in Thor. Even his lizard eye going, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," just seems laughably over the top. Say what you want about dorky helmet guy in the Bakshi version, but he was literally a shadow, and I think he's scarier as just a shadow. Simply being talked about and using your imagination. I know I'm a minority on that, I just don't find this guy scary. Luckily though, everything else about this intro is pretty badass. Showing an alliance of men and elves fighting creatures called orcs in Sauron's homeland, Mordor. Thank you for coming towards us from that angle, it looked really cool. King Isildur destroys Sauron by chopping off the ring, customized to fit any size, and it slips from person to person over the years.
But something happened then the ring did not intend.
It fell in cow shit. No, it's picked up by a hobbit named Bilbo, played by Ian Holm, who carries it back home to the Shire, and years later his nephew Frodo, played by Elijah Wood, is joining the others celebrating Bilbo's birthday with his wizard friend Gandalf, played by Ian McKellen. That mention, by the way, might be the first movie to fulfill every internet geek's fan casting.
A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Are they seeing who can hold a fart the longest? What are we doing? Actually, that would explain their awkward laugh immediately after. We're classy here. Gandalf tours the Shire filled with small people and small pigs and small sheep and small dogs. Yeah, how does this work? And I know, again, I've mentioned this before, but I'm really not the biggest fan of this film's editing. I don't blame the director. I don't even really blame the editor. Like I said, this was a beast of a production, and they have footage up the wazoo to get across very quickly in a way everybody can comprehend and be interested in. That's a lot to ask of anyone, and mistakes are going to be made. But sometimes the fast cuts do result in moments that just don't feel right.
Half the Shire's been invited.
Good gracious.
He's up to something. All right, then, keep your secrets.
That is just not a natural back and forth. A lot of fans introduce newcomers to the extended version, and I don't think that's wise either. Yeah, it's neat, I'm glad it exists, but a lot of it isn't needed, and I think it drag out too long for first-timers. Except for this one. And even then, not all the way, like up to where they get to Rivendell. Because you're setting up the main characters, and that is gonna take a little more time.
He's up to something. All right, then, keep your secrets.
I like building up Bilbo's appearance, but the extended version sets up these people a lot better.
Half the Shire's been invited, and the rest of them are turning up anyway.
See, doesn't that feel more like how people talk? Even Sam, the guy the movie is literally gonna end on, gets just one moment of him looking at a woman, and then they're like, you're a main character now, off you go. And yeah, the extended version doesn't add a ton, but it's just enough to make us connect with them a bit more. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about preachers of Jesus?
I want to see mountains again. Mountains, Gandalf.
I think most people know there's a lot of practical effects and forced perspective to make the height differences for the hobbits look more convincing, and they're really well done. Though I always thought it was a little weird they spent millions and millions on this and didn't just hire little people. Oh, except for the far-off shots, which kind of makes me question it even more. They're good enough for the far-off shots, but not the close-ups. I don't know, maybe they want actors who are somewhat well-known, and yeah, these weren't huge stars, but they were known. And there weren't really that many little people stars back then, so it feels a little odd, but it doesn't take away from the great performances all these people give.
111 years old. You haven't aged.
Have you been drinking Mario Lopez blood? They throw a big party complete with Mary Poppins fireworks. Speaking of Mary, two hobbits named Merry and Pippin, played by Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd, are causing trouble.
That was good. Let's get another one.
We like to thank guest director Blake Edwards for shooting that scene.
My dear Bagginses and Buffins, Rubs, Jobs, Windblowers.
Hey, watch the slurs. Bilbo surprises him by putting on the ring and disappearing, planning to leave the ring with Frodo, yet he finds it has a strange hold on him.
You want it for yourself!
Bilbo Baggins! Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks.
As I conjure up this cheap trick.
I remember when Ian McKellen was nominated for an Oscar, this was the clip they chose because they clearly had no idea what else to choose. McKellen is perfect, but a Best Actor nod is a little weird. I mean, Sean Bean's performance is right there.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Gandalf thinks there's more to this ring than he first thought, so he ventures out to do some research, leading to one of the cooler shots in the movie. We see a giant tower in Mordor. Holy smokes, that thing is huge. But then, in the same shot, it's shown that's just part of another tower that's literally so big you can't see the top of it. That's a clever reveal. The words Shire and Baggins are shouted as Gandalf figures out the One Ring is in fact the Ring of Sauron.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Great callback to that awkward shot you got before. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the weird close-ups in this.
For 60 years, the ring lay quiet in Bilbo's keeping.
Gandalf reveals this is the One Ring to rule them all, and in the wrong hands, Sauron could return.
His life force is bound to the ring, and the ring survived.
Sad to say, this is another moment where the pacing's a little off. In the book, Gandalf disappears for 17 years and very calmly tells Frodo what's going on, allowing more time so we can get to know him as characters. However, in the book, the party also goes on for like a bajillion pages, so I get the idea of wanting to get the story going and some real urgency here. The issue is, the tone really goes back and forth. Ooh, gotta hide, shit's getting real. You know, some tease sounds nice, there's no rush. Wait, they heard Shire Baggins. I'm Shire Baggins, we gotta move, we gotta go! Oh, Frodo, your first day of school. Let's take a second to really admire this moment. What was that? Get down! It's just a little too back and forth for me.
Confounded old Samwise Gamgee!
Like I mentioned before, Sam was eavesdropping, so Gandalf says he should go with Frodo on his journey. He says he'll meet with him at an inn after he consults with the head of his order, Saruman, played by Christopher Lee. And you'll be surprised to discover a guy with this appearance who lives in this place is amazingly a bad guy.
Against the power of Mordor, there can be no victory. You must join with Sauron.
But didn't you say on Charlie Rose I'm never a Sauron guy? I think it's okay. The last guy who was in my spot turned out great.
They have themselves a wizard's duel.
I win!
Which is pretty cool, even if the scene is a little silly.
I gave you the chance of aiding me.
And we cut back to Sam and Frodo, who bump into Merry and Pippin.
A shortcut. A shortcut to what?
Mushrooms!
I love that stuff. It makes me feel like I'm on a suburban couch just looking at the ceiling. What a trip. The 9 rings made from men have been corrupted by Sauron, though, and are now the Black Riders, who are about as perfectly intimidating as you can get. They're unstoppable, magically powerful killing machines, except when it comes to water. Come on, guys, break the stereotype Black Riders don't swim.
What business brings you to Bree?
We wish to stay at the inn. Our business is our own.
After passing by the director's cameo,
What's up, Doc? You with a sideshow around here?
they expect to meet up with Gandalf, but he's not been seen for months. They're approached by a ranger named Strider, played by Viggo Mortensen, whose introduction, again, is slightly the victim of odd editing.
Are you frightened?
Yes.
Not nearly frightened enough.
He says the hobbits should be more scared as something terrible is hunting them. Okay, good night. Now, don't get me wrong, making it look like the Black Riders killed them is a good fake-out, even if it does come after one of the funniest shots in the movie. Like, every 20 minutes, it randomly becomes Looney Tunes. But they're shooting it like, ooh, we're supposed to think Strider let them die. We've only known this guy for literally a minute. Why am I supposed to get that reaction?
Where are you taking us?
Into the wild.
Nicking any camera when I find them.
Gentlemen, we do not stop till nightfall.
Like many of the characters, though, he does balance out the more the movie goes on. Even if he does literally abandon them at their most vulnerable moments.
Nice crispy bacon.
Put it out, you fools! Put it out!
Uh-oh, I only made enough for the 4 of us. Frodo puts on the ring, but is stabbed by one of the riders, just as Strider tries to save him.
Ow, my face! My doctor said I'm not supposed to get fire on it!
Frodo is infected by the blade he was stabbed with, but thankfully an elf named Arwen, played by Liv Tyler, is there to help. Sorry, let me turn down my elvish backlighting we all have.
We must get him to my father. I offered only here. Torgwaith nin beriathon.
So I don't mind Arwen being given a bigger role here as, A, it is a bit of a sausage fest. I mean, there's more wood here than End Furnish Company. And B, for a character who does have an interesting dilemma in the later films, it just wouldn't have been as engaging if she just greeted them when they got to Rivendell. My only problem is Frodo, the main character, is completely useless. He either needed to step up to the Black Riders at the ruins, the river, or both. And then Strider and or Arwen saves him. All he does here is constantly lose to gravity. He really needed something to do during at least one of these scenes to get us more invested. Ooh, a battle scar from a tree. She's got badass war wounds.
If you want him, come and claim him.
Okay. Hey Frank, this water stuff ain't so bad.
Yeah, why were we so afraid of it? Look, there's even horses. Water sucks.
You suck, Frank. Frodo wakes up in Rivendell all healed up, and with Gandalf as well, who explains how Air Deus Ex Machina saved him from Saruman.
There is only one Lord of the Ring.
But you wouldn't know that because you can't see him!
Frodo! Sam, bless you, you're awake!
Funny note, there was pushback to have Sam grab Frodo's hand because some were concerned it might look a little gay. Yeah, that was the scene they thought might give people that impression.
Welcome to Rivendell.
We're introduced to King Elrond, played by Hugo Weaving, who assembles several Middle-earth's most Middle-earthiest looking people to decide what is to be done with the One Ring. Boromir, played by Sean Bean, says it should be used to restore order. Gimli, played by John Rhys Davies, tries to destroy it without running it by anyone. And Legolas, played by Orlando Bloom, is beautiful.
What would a ranger know of this matter?
He is Aragorn. You owe him your allegiance.
Like how he owes me my scrunchie. While everyone bickers, Frodo seems tortured yet drawn to the ring, so he says he'll be the one to take it to the only place it can be destroyed, Mount Doom. Wait, nobody knew a guy who lived in a place called Mount Doom was bad? Its name is Doom!
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
Here's my sword. Here's my bow.
Here's my axe. Bye.
Mr. Frodo's not going anywhere without me.
Sam, Merry, and Pippin say they're coming too, and I smell a title drop.
9 companions. You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
I love the look he gives, like, yeah, I'm proud of that. Yeah, all the movies do this.
There is only one Lord of the Ring.
You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
The union of the two towers.
Authority is not given to you to deny the return of the king.
Which is ironic because Tolkien didn't like splitting it up into 3 books or the titles they were given. Hell, he said Return of the King basically gave away the ending. Where you on that one, spoiler culture?
It's so light, yeah. Made by the elves, you know.
While talking with Bilbo, who now lives in Rivendell, he finds he's once again drawn to his old friend.
To hold it again one last time.
So yeah, as you may have noticed, there are moments in this trilogy that are a little too over the top. The book keeps it vague, like this could be how Frodo sees him looking similar to Gollum, but the movie does take some scenes a little too literally. I will say though, this is a 3-hour movie, and scenes like this and Galadriel going raw from Stargate do wake the audience up a bit. So even though it's a little much, I do understand why it's there. They do their Avengers trailer shot and make their way to Mordor. When Saruman uses his magic to block their path, they make their way through the Mines of Moria, where Gimli's cousin resides.
Speak, friend, and enter.
What do you suppose that?
If you are a friend, you speak the password and the doors will open.
Walt sent me. QWERTY? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Password. Password 1. Password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Frodo finally does something and figures out you literally speak the word friend in Elvish to open the door. However, not only do they find everyone inside is dead, but a monster is stopping them from going the other way.
We now have but one choice.
This Adobe lighting effect. Don't worry, it'll be the last time anyone botches the lighting in these movies.
There's something down there.
It's Gollum.
But it looks like Gollum, a creature whose life was destroyed by the ring, is following them.
It's a pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance.
It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand.
Pity was the name of one of the dwarves who tripped and injured Bilbo's killing hand. As they venture forth, they discover Gimli's cousin is dead, and yeah, I know I'm repeating myself again and again, but I like the original reaction more of just Gimli tilting his hat over his eyes and walking away. This kind of feels like that cry from the show Intervention. His chance for revenge comes, though, when the goblins who killed his cousin start rushing in.
They have a cave troll.
We have a team.
The team battle Shrek's kidney stone. Okay, how did Merry and Pippin not see him there? But they have to battle an even bigger foe, a fiery beast called the Balrog.
Dark fire will not avail you. Flame of Udun!
The Balrog
looks good, but I will say I wish they mixed CG with something that was actually there, like a puppet or stop motion or something. He looks just a little too much like a World of Warcraft boss.
You shall not pass!
Thanks, every teacher in high school. Gandalf defeats the Balrog, but the Balrog pulls him down with it. They stop the hobbits from helping him due to the literal nothing shooting at them right now. And Gandalf falls to his death.
Fly, you fools!
Oh no!
This tears the team apart, but they do manage to make their way to Lothlorien, where Galadriel, played by Cate Blanchett, is waiting. Our heroes grieve for their fallen hero, if that's what you can call this weird line delivery.
What do they say about him? I have not the heart to tell you. For me, the grief is still too near.
You said that like your Amazon package is coming a day late. While Frodo looks into the fountain that shows things that could come to be.
The Fellowship is breaking. He will try to take the ring. You know of whom I speak.
You need to kill Pippin. The next day they're on their way where they encounter the most epic toll stop ever constructed.
Long have I desired to look upon the kings of old. My kin.
Let's follow it up with this really dated frame rate effect that looked terrible back then. It looks even worse now. The ironic thing is, for all my complaining there's too much cut out of this, you could completely cut that moment and not miss a thing. Sometimes this movie does get a little drunk on its self-importance. Other times, though, they represent it perfect. I'm really not kidding when I say I'm shocked Ian McKellen got an Oscar nod, but not Sean Bean. He so easily could have been one note, but he really brings out a tortured humanity to this character that is corrupted by the power of the ring, but for a very noble cause to save his people.
To let that fear drive us to destroy what hope we have. I ask only for the strength to defend my people.
For all the bitching the character does, they know how to balance it out with real human moments too. He really does feel like a completely fleshed out character.
Give them a moment, for pity's sake!
Our paths will lead us there, and the Tower Guard shall take up the call. The Lords of Gondor have returned.
The look on his face when he realizes he single-handedly destroyed the Fellowship by trying to take the ring is so heartbreaking.
Frodo.
This was really more of a Faramir move. Aragorn as well sees he's tempted by the ring and fears, because of his family blood, that he'll eventually take it too. So he lets Frodo go alone just as the Orcai, or Orc Plus if you will, attack.
What's he doing? He's leaving.
Despite the book ending a little earlier, they do a good job wrapping this all up as the climax. Everybody's given a good moment to go out on, as well as a decent to be continued, with once again Boromir being the most powerful. I will give a battle that'll be worth a song, even if it's called the Feisty Little Pincushion! Aragorn fights off Boromir's killer and says he'll do his best to not let their kingdom fall. And goddamn, not only is this performance great, but it's one of the few times where the makeup really gives the impression this guy is taking his last breath.
I swear to you, I will not let our people fail. Our people.
Oh my god, Aragorn killed Boromir! Sam is the only one to find Frodo and swears to stand by him, literally risking death in doing so.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee.
I also don't think it's an accident Sam quotes the promise Gandalf had him make just as Frodo was thinking of his own words of wisdom from him. It shows how dedicated they are not only to each other, but also to his memory. Their bond is so strong that Aragorn decides to let them go and take what's left of the Fellowship to save Merry and Pippin.
The Fellowship has failed.
Not if we hold true to each other.
Don't touch me.
Let us hunt some orc.
It ends with Sam and Frodo looking over the perilous journey that lies ahead of them.
I'm glad you're with me.
You know, Mr. Frodo, what do you say we chuck it in that puddle and tell everyone we traveled all the way? You read my mind, Sam. And that was The Fellowship of the Ring. I have issues like any Tolkien fan is going to, but it's still a pretty damn impressive accomplishment. The problems I have, I do excuse a little more because you could argue it's a proof of concept film. For something this grand and expensive and building up 2 more installments, you needed something that could reach the majority of people, yet still stay true to what the source material was. And I think this film not only does that, but it does succeed at it. I didn't even have a chance to talk about the stellar cinematography, the combination of practical and CG effects, and the unbelievable music. Every shot is impressive, the scale models look incredible, and just about everything has a musical theme that sounds like something right out of an epic opera. For the little nitpicks I have, it makes up for it in the grand presentation and, as you probably know, the amazing installments to follow. For Lord of the Rings month is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and let's see if they're done bickering out there. All right, everybody, stop your bickering.
Dear Nostalgia Critic, we got bored and did something else. It's time to realize we have a life outside of you.
You literally don't. You were made for the show.
I know you think we literally don't, as we were made for the show, but that's why we're gonna be in a few Cinema Snob episodes.
Cinema Snob! I lost interest.
No,